All right, hey guys, OFD checking in here on a Friday night, and it's finally time to take a look at the Jade Sumo, what I'm calling the Jade Sumo. I'm sure there's another term for this one, but it just really seems to match with the colors that come out in this watch as you take a look at it. You've got definitely a very green bezel, and then this sunburst dial that is green sometimes and a bluish green, sometimes emeraldy. It's just absolutely beautiful. So we're going to take a full look at this watch, talk about it, talk about the elephant in the room with the samurai. Obviously, that is the size of this watch. So many people have made comments on the last videos of this watch, just saying it's just much too big, especially for my 7-inch wrist. And I'll get a little bit into that and my feeling of watch sizes as we go through the video. So this, guys, is the SCSZ004 from Seiko. Now, many places are labeling this watch as a limited edition piece. I can't actually verify that. I'm not really sure if it is limited, if there is a number out there that somebody can tell me. I'm not really sure, and it really makes me question whether it is actually a limited edition watch. But it does show up all over the place as limited edition. This is your typical Seiko Sumo case. It is the newer style, so you do have the Prospex and the automatic and the water resistance of 200 meters down there. Instead of the traditional, on the original Sumos, they had that really nice font automatic writing down there, and that was it, which was a very nice touch on those older watches. Hopefully in the future I can get a hold of one of those and show it here on the channel. So one of the best things I think about the Seiko Sumo, even though the case is big, is the way the case is designed. It's absolutely interesting and fascinating how much work goes into this case to design the Sumo. Now, if you look at it, you guys can see that the case actually comes up around the bezel here and covers a portion of the bezel, almost protects it as a shroud like you would have on a turtle, on a tuna style watch, or one of the SRP, the 637 has the shroud on it, but this is actually all part of the case. It's not a separate piece, and it's done just absolutely stunning. You look at the bevels and the polish work done on the case of the watch. I mean, it's really as nice as they come from Seiko. It's just done so well. You have this sharp center right down here that kind of just disappears into the polishing along the side of the case, but there's brushwork here. You've got this other bezel along the top, or bevel along the top, that is so polished, and also along the bottom of the watch. And it cuts in, as you can see, it's undercut here, which really makes the watch wear comfortably on the wrist. Now, as I always do at the end of the video, I will get a wrist shot and a lume shot, so stick around for that. And one other thing I want to mention, guys, if you've not subscribed to the OFD channel, hit that little picture of my face down there in the corner and definitely subscribe. Ring the bell so you know when I have new videos coming out. Now, this watch is running the 6R15 movement from Seiko. I do believe that's a 23 joule movement, I think it is, beating at 21,600 vibrations per hour. It's a very well-made movement. It's not an ETA, but it's a very well-made movement. It's all in-house from Seiko. They do everything themselves. They make everything in the movement, down to the springs that are running the movement. And I think that's a real special thing to say about a company like Seiko, that they're 100% in-house built. So 120 click bezel, as you would expect from a Sumo, and it's very nicely done, very tight. Everything on this particular watch for me aligns perfectly. I have no problems with any of the alignment on the watch. As a matter of fact, the last few watches I've received, as far as Seiko's go, have been perfect alignment. As a matter of fact, tonight for the review, I'm actually wearing the 053. And this watch is absolutely perfectly aligned. I'm going to have a video probably on Sunday because I've come into another one of these. I have a second one here at the house that I'm going to sell for a friend. And I'm going to do a for sale video of that. But let's jump back into the Sumo. Now, one of the things that we got to talk about is the dimensions on this watch. It is big. And as a matter of fact, I got to pause it so I can grab my caliper. I'm a bit disappointed even in myself because that's the second time in one day shooting 2 videos that I have not had my caliper ready. So you're basically looking at a 45 millimeter case from side to side. So yeah, big. From lug tip to lug tip, and this is generally the one that scares everyone off from the Sumo, you're looking at, I think it's closer to 53, if I can get it on that sharp little tip there. Yeah, 52. So it's definitely big, and I've heard people call it bigger. And then as far as the thickness goes, it's pretty thick at 13.7. You do have a domed mineral crystal on this watch. So the size is big, and we'll get it on the wrist here and talk about that. That's one of the downfalls. One of the other downfalls I always hear people mentioning is the crystal on this watch, the Hardlex crystal. And if you're getting used to some of these newer models like the 62 Moss or the 053 reissues that have sapphire on them, it can be quite a question as to why Seiko is using the Hardlex crystal on this watch. But let me tell you, as an old Seiko owner, my Seiko history goes back to well before the early 1980s, because my father had a Seiko. I bought my first Seiko in 1982. So Hardlex crystal is something I've had around all my life. And as a young boy, I wasn't very gentle with my watches, and it got scratched up, but it was never just destroyed looking or anything like that. It looked good. I mean, it just, that's what happened. So I don't have a problem with the Hardlex crystal. Now, I do understand the sentiment of many people out there saying this watch should have sapphire crystal in it. Now, at the price I paid for this watch, which was under $600, if I want sapphire crystal, I'm going to go ahead and pop one in there. I'm going to get a hold of Sapphire Times, or yeah, I think it's Sapphire, Crystal Times, yeah. And I'm going to get a crystal for this thing and have it put in there. But really, for me, honestly, I can live with the Hardlex crystal. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bracelet the watch comes on. Now, this is a solid in-link. Somebody commented that it had folded in-links in my last video, which I thought was kind of funny because it doesn't. All solid links all the way throughout. You do have your typical pressed and polished clasp work on the inside here. It is a dual push button clasp with the folding lock over. And you do also on this watch have the diver's extension, which, to be honest, I've never brought out on the watch. But yeah, there you go. There's your diver's extension. So nothing super fancy, but all of it very effective and works well from Seiko. Of course, on the back of the watch, you have your typical Seiko case back, the Prospex logo down there, or actually I got it upside down, but the Prospex logo at the bottom, your Seiko at the top. This is a made in Japan watch, and your Seiko Tsunami or the Kanagawa Wave, whichever you prefer. The 4 o'clock crown position is a very, real traditional Seiko thing, and I really appreciate it. One of the great things I really like on this one that they're not doing on some of the newer models is it has a signed crown. And this crown is really well done. As a matter of fact, many people aftermarket are making these crowns, these signed crowns for the other watches out there. I think it's neat that the Sumo actually has that. Now, from the side, you can see, along with this polishing of the case, you can see the curvature. And even at this 51 to 52 millimeter lug length, there is a lot of curve to the watch. Also, from the side, you can see how that bezel just tends to disappear as the case comes up over the side there. I think that's just a really neat design. So go ahead and pause it, and we'll get this watch on the wrist and talk a little bit more about the size. Okay, so this video is really about this watch today. So I don't want to put it on the Crafter Blue strap or the rubber strap that I bought for it. If you want to see that video, that's in my lineup. Just go back a few videos and you can find that. I'll actually put the link to that video in the description. But for me, I know a lot of people think this watch is too big, but really the only people that have ever told me this watch is too big is people here watching my channel on YouTube. So I love wearing the watch in public. I was talking to a friend last night and I said, I just have to kind of face that I think I like big watches. I really do like the wrist presence of a large watch, and something like this being such a unique and awesome looking Seiko watch, I have no problem with it being big. As a matter of fact, I almost want it to be big so people ask me about the Sumo, the Jade Sumo. It's just a great watch. I love the yellow highlights in the dial. As a matter of fact, I think that Crafter Blue is going to start making a yellow strap, and I think I'll pick one of those up for the summer to kind of bring out that yellow that's in the dial. It'll be fun to wear to the beach. Definitely a watch that I'm going to keep in the collection. The Sumo has been one of those watches that I've thought about for a number of years. I've talked about it and I've wanted one, and finally to go with this model, I'm very happy with the watch I have. It's interesting because it is big, but I love the watch. Now, it wears quite a bit larger than the SBDC 053, but because of the curvature of the lug, you guys can see it really just hugs the wrist very well. Now, a lot of times people seem to think it maybe looks bigger because of the position in the picture, but I don't know. You guys tell me. But we're going to go ahead and dim the lights here, guys, and go out with a lume shot of this beautiful Seiko Sumo. All right, guys, so we'll go ahead and get this thing lit up. I don't think it's going to surprise you. This has amazing lume on the watch. I posted a picture on my Instagram page last week of the lume on this one, and it's just spectacular. Just beautifully done. And, heavily applied on this, the Sumo being one of their top, watches in their divers line as far as, being just, it's almost got a little bit of heritage, even though it hasn't been around that long, because there's just something about the Sumo. People always come back to it. So check it out. I lit up the 053 down there also. So let's put the lume together and check them out. Oh, look at that. Isn't that great? Oh, come on, focus. Look at that. Double lume shot. So very cool watch. If you guys are interested in picking up a Sumo, I'll leave some links down below in the description where you can pick them up. Definitely a cool watch. Definitely something a Seiko collector should have in the collection, no matter what, style or color that you actually go with. So stick around this weekend, guys. Tomorrow we're going to be checking out the Nautis Avalon, which is just a spectacular watch. And of course, we have that watch in green too, which is really cool. And then we'll also be showing the SBDC 053 that I have for sale on the channel here coming up very soon. So, all right, guys, if you showed up for this video, the second video of the day, thank you, and give me a thumbs up if you like it. And if you've not subscribed to the OFD channel yet, please do. Please do. All right, thanks, guys.